didn't expect that you secretly played and sang a song for your deskmate in the classroom, and the photographer who came to the class to record the program actually posted it online, causing the nation's goddess of a deskmate to secretly develop feelings for you. Upon hearing the news, you wished you could cut off both your arms. Weren't we supposed to just coast through this world? Why did you have to go and play the Blue Star Divine song? Now this is so embarrassing. The whole school has misunderstood that you have a crush on your deskmate. You were originally a small-time 18-tier celebrity on Blue Star. Having seen enough of the scheming and backstabbing in the entertainment industry, you were now reborn as a college student. You just wanted to stay away from that circle and study hard. But a show called When You Were Young shattered the peace you wanted. In the last music class of the afternoon, the music teacher and the director sat in the back row. They planned to enjoy the performances of the star students. One by one, the star students took the stage, and their performances were quite good. Finally, it was your deskmate Mary's turn. She played and sang a song you had never heard before. As you listened, you felt something was off. Although you hadn't heard the song before, there was an obvious noise in the music. It seemed like there was a small problem with the guitar. You were still clapping as she bowed and scanned the audience, and she smiled with satisfaction when she saw you listening intently. But at that moment, your gaze was fixed on her guitar. You noticed that her guitar strings were a bit crooked. Should you remind her? If you didn't say anything, would this silly girl never notice the flaw in her guitar? After school that day, it was the star student group's turn to clean up. You could see the huge crowd of fans gathered outside the school gate. If the evacuation was delayed because of cleaning duty after school, there would be a lot of chaos. And you were the only ordinary student in this group, so the difficult task of cleaning duty fell on you alone. Perhaps because you were used to being marginalized in your previous life, you actually quite enjoyed being alone. You leisurely finished cleaning the classroom and stretched. Suddenly, you noticed some movement from the guitar bag placed on the desk next to you. How about just helping him tune the guitar? After all, with such a small difference, he wouldn't notice it anyway. Consider it a good deed done anonymously. You looked around to make sure no one was there, then felt relieved to take out the guitar. The distance between the 7th fret marker and the strings was a bit off. Using your experience, you made a small adjustment and nodded with satisfaction. You gently plucked a string to see if it was properly tuned now. Since it was your deskmate's guitar, why not play a song called My Deskmate? In the empty classroom under the evening sunset, you gently plucked the strings. Tomorrow, will you still remember the diary you wrote yesterday? Tomorrow, will you still think of the one who cried the most yesterday? The teachers have all forgotten about you, the one who couldn't figure out the questions. I too, by chance, flipped through old photos and remembered you, my deskmate, who married the sentimental you, who read your diary, who brought up your punishment, who made the trade for you. After singing, you stepped out of the school gate into the sunset. However, before you had gone far, you ran into the show's director, Soo Doo-jin, and a cameraman. You saw the two of them, nodded silently, and quickly walked away. You didn't want to have too much interaction with these people in the industry. You were just an ordinary high school student who wanted to study hard. Soo Doo-jin and the cameraman didn't pay you any mind and went straight to the filming classroom. Because the cameraman had realized on his way home that he had left the camera on, he rushed back to the classroom. He walked up to the camera, picked it up with both hands, and prepared to delete the blank footage. But he suddenly paused because he saw in the camera footage, under the sunset, a young boy took out a guitar, made some adjustments, then sat down and played the guitar while singing a song. Soon the song ended, and the cameraman snapped back to reality. What to do? Delete the video or, this is a treasure. We found a treasure. The cameraman nodded. He considered himself someone who didn't particularly like listening to music, yet after hearing this song, he felt an urge to tear up, which was enough to show the value of this song. Soo Doo-jin patted the cameraman on the shoulder. Starting tomorrow, shoot more of this kid's interactions with Mary. Try not to be noticed. The lyrics this kid wrote are definitely about Mary. A talented and handsome young man like him. I want to make him famous. Let him be huge. Should we talk to him first and air it directly? The cameraman hesitated a bit. The kid doesn't understand things. He doesn't know the weight of this song. Once the show airs and he tastes the benefits of the hype, we can talk to him then. At this moment, you still had no idea what had happened in the classroom. If you had known, you probably would have wanted to punch someone. Soo Doo-jin, in the classroom, watched the fully set sun and took a long breath. The theme for the first episode of the show is set. I'll call it My Deskmate. The next day, you went to school as usual. Just as you sat down, your deskmate Mary whispered to you, Lu Yong, I noticed this morning that the zipper on my guitar bag was open a bit. Weren't you on cleaning duty last night? Could it have been you? Your heart skipped a beat. Though you felt guilty, you had to act the part. You looked confused and whispered back, no, it wasn't me. Mary glanced at you skeptically but didn't press further. Did I remember wrong? Maybe I just forgot to zip it all the way. As you were talking, you felt something was off. The cameraman, who usually only filmed the celebrities, seemed to be showing up near you much more often today. But then you thought, you're just an ordinary student with no traffic. The production team should know better than you. Still, it was best to avoid appearing in the same frame as Mary as much as possible. If the director suddenly had a crazy idea, you'd be in trouble. Thinking about this, you decided to find out more about the show. You turned to the cameraman and asked, when does your show premiere? The cameraman glanced at you. Saturday at 8 p.m. Why ask? You smiled slightly. Just want to find my own shots when it airs. As soon as you said that, Mary pouted. What? If you wanted screen time, you could have just told me directly. No, that's not what I meant, you said awkwardly, walking away. That night, the preview for the first episode of When You Were Young aired. It started with self-introductions and talent clips from the 7-star students, and ended with a shot shot of the empty classroom under the sunset after school. A short minute but full of suspense. Am I overthinking it? You thought. After watching the preview, you couldn't find any shots of yourself at all, so you put your mind at ease. 3 days passed quickly. Apart from the cameraman occasionally sneaking shots of you, nothing major happened. You were curious to see what exactly they were filming. Finally, Saturday night arrived. The show officially aired. You were actually a little impatient. Just then, your mom, Nini, gently pushed the door open. Son, what are you doing? Later, let's watch that school variety show together. Why watch that? I won't even be in it. And you probably aren't interested in those young celebrities anyway. Just watching for fun. I feel like you're hiding something from me, Mom said as she came over and sat down on your bed. Although you didn't have many shots in the show, as Mary's deskmate, you were bound to appear. If your unreliable mom saw that, it would be a disaster. But after the show officially aired, this probably couldn't be stopped.
Mom, I'm sorry.
I lied to you. Actually, Mary is my deskmate. Took you long enough to tell me. If you hadn't, I'd still be in the dark. You know I've always liked Mary, that well-behaved and lively girl. And you kept something like this from me? Mom crossed her legs, looking like she knew all along. You stared at your mom, dumbfounded. You already knew? Of course. You think you can hide something this big from me? I heard it from Lu Nung. I raised you for nothing. Don't you trust your own mother? Mom, I wasn't trying to hide it. It's just not a big deal. I'm just there to keep the star student company. I wouldn't dare do anything else. Mom leaned in and urged you, hurry up and open the computer. It's about to start. Let's watch it together. You punctually opened Penguin Video and clicked on the first episode of When You Were Young. The show began. The 7 star students were all gathered, and the introductions officially started. But interestingly, during the star students' self-introductions, the camera gave a wide shot of the class. Among the excited students, you, with your head down reading a book, stood out. You're so serious at school? You didn't even look when the celebrities came. Mom couldn't help but think more highly of you. You rubbed your head. Celebrities are people too. What's there to look at? Just then, you saw a comment floating by on the screen, criticizing you for being disrespectful. But you didn't pay it much mind. Isn't that how the internet is? After the previous students finished their introductions, it was finally Mary's turn. But since she had lost her deskmate, the comments were all things like, poor Mary. But then it got confusing. Mary said she wanted to pick an ordinary student as her deskmate. I think that classmate has been studying the whole time. He seems like a very serious student. Can I be his deskmate? Following the girl's finger, the camera focused on you, looking stunned. You were completely dumbfounded. Giving an ordinary student this much screen time was way too much. Whether it was an illusion or not, you felt the comments go silent for a second. Netizens were shocked by your looks. This random ordinary student was actually more handsome than several of the male guests. Are regular people this good-looking nowadays? And just like that, you inexplicably became Mary's deskmate. Son. So this is how you became her deskmate? Mom frowned. She had thought her son was chosen because of his looks, but it seemed she was overthinking it. The show continued with some daily school life clips, study sessions, and break time interactions. Fans of each celebrity spammed the comments, and no one mentioned you, an ordinary student. But as the show progressed and it came to Mary's segments, the tone suddenly changed. Lu Yao, this math problem is so hard. Can you teach me? Wait until second year of high school. You'll know it then. Will I really learn it in second year? By second year, you'll be used to it. Mom's expression froze. Why was her son so infuriating? Lu Yao, how do you say launch in English? I got stuck writing my essay. You made a finger gun gesture. Yo! At this point, the comments were flooded with ha ha ha. They seemed to be witnessing a very sweet deskmate interaction. You were completely stunned. Wait, could I actually become popular because of my humor? This is too surreal. The show was only halfway through, and your screen time was already alarmingly high. Suddenly, Mom shouted, son, you're trending. Then Mom handed you her phone. You quickly took it and glanced at the Weibo trending list. Number 1, When You Were Young episode 1. Number 2, Mary almost cried from anger. Number 7, Mary's deskmate is too real. Number 14, Who is Lu Yao? You were equally stunned by the trending topics. You hadn't done anything. How were you trending? You clicked into the comments under the second trending topic. All Mary fans saying things like, Mary, don't cry. I'll beat him up for you. That kid is too much. He made our Mary cry. So scary. You seriously suspected you might get beaten up by Mary's fans on the street. But it wasn't intentional. That girl naturally drew the camera's focus and kept getting close to you, so you had no choice but to respond that way. Then you clicked on the 7th trending topic. First time seeing Mary eat food. Ha ha ha, hilarious. Mary eating is cute too. Mary's deskmate is so real. They both tease each other. This is what real deskmates look like. At that moment, your phone started ringing. Your private messages were exploding. You were popular, and quite inexplicably so. Why did the production team give you so much screen time? Even if it was to add interaction for Mary, this was way too much. You had a bad feeling. These shots seemed to be building up to something big, like they were planning something. What exactly was the production team up to? You couldn't figure it out. You tossed the phone aside and continued watching. Hopefully, things wouldn't get worse. Sure enough, in the second half of the show was the star students' music class talent showcase. Compared to the daily life segments, this should be the real highlight. You breathed a sigh of relief. At least you wouldn't be in it anymore. Amidst a lot of hype and anticipation, the special music class began. Because the production team had used post-production processing, even though you had watched it live before, it felt fresh now. Amidst a flurry of positive comments, it was finally Mary's turn. The girl raised her chin at you with a slightly sulky expression, and it was captured on camera. What the hell is the production team team doing? They don't even let a tiny expression like that go. Mary's guitar solo began, but the camera kept cutting to you resting your chin on your hand, watching her. The young boy's eyes were full of tenderness, reflecting the sparkling girl. You even gave a faint, self-deprecating smile. When the performance ended, you forced a smile and said to the girl, "You played really well." Then you turned your head away, unable to look at her. Seeing this, netizens fell silent. Everyone could tell this was going to be an unrequited crush. How could an ordinary high school student and a celebrity ever have a chance? Through skillful camera work, you became a pure-hearted young boy who secretly liked Mary but buried it deep due to insecurity. What the hell is this? You were so angry you wanted to curse. Wasn't this malicious editing? You were watching so intently because you noticed something wrong with Mary's guitar playing, not because you were crushing on her. You turned away because you couldn't be bothered and wanted to focus on studying. How did they turn it into that? While you were still staring in shock, your mom patted your shoulder. "Son, I understand now. I said why you've been studying so hard lately. You really did fall for an unattainable girl and started studying hard because of it." Listening to mom's flawless analysis, you almost believed it yourself. "I just wanted to study. How did it get interpreted like this?" You wanted to see how netizens were interpreting it. You opened Weibo again and looked at the comments under the trending topics. "Lu Yao is actually pretty good, but they're from different worlds. Who hasn't had an unrequited crush?" A sea of sympathetic comments made you feel dazed. How am I suddenly the one with a secret crush? Meanwhile, in a villa in the same city, Mary watched the boy's melancholy expression on screen. Her heart skipped a beat. In an instant, 2 rosy blushes appeared on her face. She frantically flipped over and buried her whole face in the pillow. "No way, Lu Yao couldn't possibly like me, right? How could he? If he really did like her, what would happen?" The girl tossed the pillow aside, ruffled her messy hair, and her gaze gradually shifted from flustered to disappointed. What was she thinking so much for? Even if he liked her, so what? She would eventually leave for a bigger stage while Lu Yao would stay behind, living an ordinary life. Recalling your dim expression in the show, she suddenly understood. Maybe you had realized that too, which was why you had been so distant. Mary patted her pink cheeks to calm down. "Just pretend nothing happened. Be an ordinary deskmate, eventually just a memory. Isn't that fine?" The show played on quietly, but Mary in front of the screen had lost interest in watching. The special music class ended, and the show entered its final segment. The star students left the classroom one by one. Finally, only one figure remained. The young boy gazed at the sunset outside the window, his silhouette somewhat lonely. His eyes gradually fell to the empty seat beside him, with a mix of deep emotion and melancholy. Then you picked up Mary's guitar, fiddled with it for a while and finally tuned it. You sighed with relief and looked at the guitar with a satisfied smile. At that moment, your eyes were full of joy, as if you had accomplished something great, as if you had been quietly caring for her, doing many things, and never saying a word. "Since it's my deskmate's guitar, let me play a song called You for my deskmate." Before the recording stopped, Mary covered her mouth in disbelief as she watched this scene. Then you gently plucked the strings. Who married the sentimental you? Who read your diary? Who brought up your punishment? Who made the trade for you? Your singing voice pierced through the screen and touched everyone's heart. In that instant, something in Mary's heart seemed to shatter. On the other side, the homeroom teacher Zhang Bin was also watching this show. He was also a fan of the nation's daughter, Mary, and besides, this show was being recorded in his class. Watching your performance, he was very displeased. Although Mary was great, how dare you little brat, have such unrealistic thoughts? Fortunately, in the show, it seemed you realized it yourself. But when he heard your moving singing voice, Zhang Bin was shocked beyond measure. This kid actually knows how to write songs? He listened to the whole song and then cried like a baby. Perhaps you never expected that your fierce homeroom teacher could be so vulnerable. "Son, you can write songs too? Your singing reminded me of my deskmate." "Come on, your deskmate is Dad." "Oh right, that's true." Mom laughed through her tears while wiping them away and sizing you up. "You're going to be famous, son." Deskmate You had already become the #1 trending topic, exploding across the internet. Music platforms had it too. The production team had thoughtfully arranged the copyright for you. The song was an instant hit. At this point, you felt like dying. You just helped your deskmate tune the guitar. How did it get filmed? You just said a few words and made a few gestures. How did they get overinterpreted like this? This was completely beyond your expectations. Just then, your phone rang. "Hello? Bro Yao, this is Lu Nung. About you and sis-in-law dash." Before she could finish, you hung up immediately. "What the hell, sis-in-law already? Are you crazy?" You now completely dared not look at your own trending topics. You were afraid you might smash your head against the wall. You had wanted to keep a low profile in this world and study hard. Now this show had prematurely exposed you to the public eye. Wasn't this a disaster? Things had developed far beyond your expectations, and the chain reaction was even more unforeseen. You couldn't figure out for the life of you how you became a lovesick youth. "Son, look, a famous music critic is praising your song. As expected of my son, with this talent, maybe chasing Mary isn't impossible." You couldn't be bothered to argue. What to do now? You had become exactly the kind of person you never wanted to be. While you were still at a loss, Mom was frantically taking pictures of you with her phone. "I'm going to post a Weibo to show off my son." You rushed to stop her. Wasn't this adding fuel to the fire? But you were too late. Mom had already posted it and smiled contentedly. She would definitely gain a lot of followers this time. Mom was actually a somewhat well-known journalist with a certain follower base, and riding the wave of her son's popularity to gain fans was a sure thing. Why not take advantage of her own son's hype? You slumped in your chair, utterly defeated. defeated. You just wanted to study quietly. Why was it so hard? Forget it, just give up. Let's see how the netizens are praising me. Fine, I give up. You opened Weibo, already overwhelmed with notification red dots. In just a few minutes, your follower count had gone from single digits to 180,000, and it was still growing. Along with the show's broadcast, the trending topics about you and Mary were still on the list. Counting them up, you had actually participated in 6 trending topics as the main characters. Terrifying. Would you have to wear a mask just to go out from now on? You clicked on the second trending topic, Mary responds. Respond to what? This girl should understand you. She couldn't have misinterpreted it, right? Even if everyone thought you liked her, she should be able to tell the truth, shouldn't she? Only then did you realize you didn't even follow Mary on Weibo. You call this a secret crush? Honestly, you didn't even know this girl had any works. How could netizens ship you two based on just a few interactions and one song? This was infuriating. Turned out Respond was just a clickbait title. Mary had reposted the link to Deskmate You with a brief comment, pretty good. That was it. That didn't count as a response at all. You finally breathed a sigh of relief. Honestly, you were scared she might give a serious response. That would have thrown you into the spotlight even more. It's good that she likes it. No misunderstanding, good. I need to find a chance to explain things clearly to Mary. If she really overthought it, that would be bad. Most of the comments under Mary's post were from true fans. This is Mary's decision. We don't need to say too much. To have a boy write a song like this for her. Mary is really charming. Our little Mary has such an excellent boy with a secret crush on her. How nice. You could only say Mary's fans were of high quality. There was no drama at all over this. Perhaps in their eyes, Mary wasn't just a celebrity, but a child they watched grow up and slowly begin to shine. Seeing a child grow up, what else could they feel but happiness and delight? You kept scrolling and saw an ordinary user tagging you. The whole nation knows about your secret crush now. When are you going to formally confess to Mary? Surrender quickly. You're surrounded. You really wanted to curse at them. I really don't have a secret crush. Production team, come out. I promise I won't beat you. After the production team's editing, your deliberate distance from Mary and your solo performance of Deskmate You had made netizens imagine a whole story. An ordinary boy falls in love with a rich girl at first sight, but they're destined to have no future. So the boy feels heartbroken, deliberately distances himself to avoid falling deeper, writes a song for the girl, but chooses to hide his love deep in his heart, only singing it softly in the dead of night. Just as you exited the comments, you noticed that you and Mary's accounts were now following each other. She must be online snacking on the drama too. She shouldn't have misunderstood, right? You decided to clear things up. After hesitating for a long time, you opened Mary's WeChat. Hey, Mary replied with one word. Yeah, about today's events. Let me explain. Actually, that song wasn't written by me, nor was it written for you. I don't have a secret crush on you, and I'm not some lovesick boy. I know, you don't have a secret crush on me. You didn't write that song for me, just like you said you can't play the guitar. What the hell? This is the boy who cried wolf situation. I've lied too much and can't be trusted anymore. Forget it. You do your thing. It seemed there was no way to explain it clearly now. But then you thought, if you couldn't explain it to Mary, maybe you could post a Weibo to explain it to the netizens. You were already in the eye of the storm. If you didn't clarify soon, you'd be forced into becoming a top celebrity. So you decided to post an explanatory Weibo. At that moment, your phone rang again. When you saw an unfamiliar number on the screen, you panicked. Were fans already doxing you? That fast? But scared as you were, you still had to answer. Not answering a call was bad manners. Is this Liu Yao? This is Su Duojin. I want to talk to you about something. Su Duojin was the general director of the When You Were Young variety show. You had a few years acquaintance with him. It wasn't hard for the director to get your contact info from the homeroom teacher. It was perfectly reasonable for him to reach out at this stage. After all, he was the one who gave you so much screen time and released your singing video. He was definitely the culprit. Your tone was flat. What is it? You've seen it too, Liu Yao. You really have talent. Want to enter the entertainment industry? I can introduce you. Don't bother, Director Su. I appreciate the offer, but I don't want to go into the entertainment industry. This malicious editing, sure enough, he had ulterior motives. He wanted to drag you into showbiz, and the secret filming wasn't even resolved yet. You're serious? The voice on the phone sounded surprised. Of course, I want to study hard. Knowledge changes fate, you know? There are many talent agencies contacting me to sign you with top-tier conditions. Would you reconsider? No need. I just want to get into a good university, much better than all that superficial stuff. What talent agency? Once you've been used up, they'll discard you like a worn-out shoe. You had been a low-tier artist in your past life and knew this well. Better to stay far away from such things. You're amazing. Su Duojin was speechless. This kid had a unique way of thinking, but the key was you couldn't argue with him. What's wrong with wanting to study hard? But something felt off somehow. By the way, Director Su, you filmed me secretly this time. At least give me some explanation, right? This isn't part of the ordinary student contract. Don't worry, you'll get paid. This song brought the show popularity. The money is yours. Also, about the song's copyright, all rights and platform revenue belong to you personally. But as the producer, When You Were Young has 2 years of usage rights and agency. Deal? Just remember to transfer the money to me. You estimated that the contract was pretty fair. These songs were your only asset. You'd use one and lose one, so you couldn't just sing for free. Earning something was always good. Besides, you had big plans for this money. Just studying without planning for the future wouldn't work. You intended to build some capital for later. You hung up in a much better mood, not entirely because of the money. Just then, you suddenly realized something. You hadn't signed with any agency. You weren't a celebrity or a star right now. So what if an ordinary person gets popular? Without an agency, without any events, without new works to keep fans, the looky-loose would forget about you soon enough. You didn't even need to respond. Time would make them forget everything. As for explaining and clarifying, you thought it through and decided against it. In the entertainment industry, many things only get worse because of explanations. Explanations are just cover-ups, and they only make things more tangled. You guessed that if you posted an explanation, the comments would all be, "Stop pretending. It's okay to have a secret crush. Nobody's laughing at you." So you decided to go cold turkey. As long as you didn't comment, clarify, explain, or admit anything, no one could speak on your behalf. As long as you didn't respond, the issue would slowly sink into the sea and quickly lose heat. Then you'd be forgotten and can quietly be an ordinary person again. Phew, that was close. Almost couldn't study properly. Good thing I know how to just let it be. Explanations are cover-ups, so I won't explain. A romance often needs one party to make the first move, but the female lead of this love story, Mary, didn't respond. So fans waited all night. And then you, the male lead, also didn't make a peep no statement at all, as if you were completely outside the whole affair. CP fans were outraged, wishing they could lock you two in a cage together. Of course, you knew nothing about this. After signing the contract and checking the relevant filming clauses, you went to sleep. Suing would be out of the question. Even if you won, the fallout would be massive and disrupt your peaceful life. Go ahead and make noise. I don't care if I'm popular or not. I'll just be an ordinary person. Aside from the neighbor's middle school girl coming over for an autograph on Sunday morning, there were basically no other annoyances. Although you'd probably have to wear a mask to go out from now on, things weren't too bad. You were still an ordinary person, just with a little more popularity. Isn't that fine? After a day of studying, you were in a pretty good mood, even elated. Truly, studying is the best. Life may deceive you, but studying never will, because if you don't know, you don't know. For self-development, you decided to lean toward game development. Although you also wanted to be an online novelist to make money, the problem was you only remembered plot outlines, not detailed novel content. Adding your own embellishments probably wouldn't turn out well, and likely wouldn't be successful. Writing songs was too easily connected to the entertainment industry, so it was best to steer clear. From this perspective, developing games from memory was a good choice. Start with small games, then grow bigger and stronger, creating new glories. Games focus on creativity and gameplay, exactly what you, as a transmigrator, possessed. As long as the game was good, people would buy it, and you wouldn't rely too much on external factors like celebrities. In such a twisted industry, it's too exhausting. When you're popular, people get jealous and will try to bring you down. Make one small mistake and everyone turns against you, and you end up as everyone's laughingstock. That would be too tragic. Singing is fine, but don't mix with the industry. If possible, you hope to be in the state where your songs are famous but you aren't. In the end, this deskmate you blow up was a coincidence of coincidences. It rode on the variety show and Mary's popularity, catching fire so fast. It was a perfect storm of timing, location, and people. Although the work itself was top-notch, without this traffic push, it wouldn't have progressed so quickly. Never mind, I won't think about it anymore. If I keep thinking, I won't be able to sleep. Better to study hard and earn money through my own abilities. As for writing songs, it can only be an emergency plan. Now a new issue was before you. Tomorrow was Monday, and you had to go to school. Now that you were inexplicably popular, going to school could cause quite a stir. And the accursed, when you were young show was still filming. This was only the first episode, and you were already this popular. What would happen later? The production team would probably shoot even more of your footage and edit it into something wildly inconsistent with reality. This was too underhanded. Thinking this, you felt you had to make your stance clear. Otherwise, if Soo Duojin kept trying to meddle with you, you'd be in trouble. You rubbed your brow helplessly, hesitated for a long time, and then dialed Soo Duojin's number. Liu Yao, changed your mind? Ready to sign? Director Soo, let me tell you something. I'm just an ordinary person. Having me appear so much on screen has seriously affected my normal life. I hope the production team can focus on the star students according to your agreement with the school. Although I don't have a contract as a non-celebrity, I have way too much screen time. Filming someone without consent is illegal. You know that, right? You're serious? Of course. I really don't want to be in the entertainment industry. And don't presume to understand me as some experienced person. I've made myself clear, don't infringe on my rights. If you keep filming too much of me next week, I won't hesitate to take legal action. You tossed the phone aside, somewhat frustrated. Legal action was definitely a last resort. You were mostly just making a statement, showing your dissatisfaction and letting Soo Duojin know your true feelings. He should back off, right? As long as you had no screen time, netizens would quickly forget about you. Soo Duojin held the phone in prolonged silence. He had just been hung up on, and after being berated too. Who was he? A nationally renowned variety director, responsible for countless hit shows, having launched countless artists. Everyone in the industry treated him with respect. And now he was being told off by a high schooler, and the kid had a valid point. Soo always felt something was off. Sure, filming you without consent wasn't right, but isn't this a good thing? More exposure, wouldn't that be good? There were countless artists begging to appear on his show, and he wouldn't even give them a glance. He gave this kid free screen time, and the kid got upset. Was he crazy? He could see this kid was born for this business, and he was wrong for trying to help. So he was the big bully here? That can't be right. Kid, you've caught my attention. Soo Duojin lit a cigarette, took a drag, and got angrier. He made a call. Hey old Yang, it's me. You don't need to work in the photography group next week. I'm not firing you, I'm giving you a special assignment. From now on, you'll be Liu Yao's exclusive cameraman. Whenever you spot him doing something unusual, do whatever it takes to film it. Too young, kid. Once you taste the benefits of fame and fortune, you'll come begging to me. Who doesn't want that? Just a young man trying to act tough. If I don't want to be filmed, I'll focus on filming you. When you become a big star, you'll thank me. Let's go, kid, we'll see. The next day, you wore a mask and sneaked into school. This was your first time going to school masked up. You put on a large black mask that instantly covered your handsome face. Just in case, you also wore a sun hat. You figured dressed like this, even your own mother wouldn't recognize you. Son, why are you dressed like that? Never mind. Forget I asked. You glanced at the completely burnt fried egg on the table and didn't dare take a bite. After finishing your bread, you hurriedly fled the scene. Your mom's skill at brewing poison was getting stronger. Your house was a 20-minute walk from school. Maybe it was psychological, but you felt like everyone on the street was looking at you. Commuters, morning exercisers, even stray dogs. Seriously? I'm almost fully disguised. You looked around cautiously and pulled down your hat. Before you could continue, someone patted your shoulder. I'm not. You've got the wrong person. I'm not that guy. Halfway there and already recognized? Startled by the sudden attack, you instinctively prepared to run. Bro Yao, what are you sneaking around for? It was Lu Nang, that fool. You scared me to death, you fatso. How do you walk so silently? You should have been an assassin. Your outfit, oh I see. Bro Yao is a big star now. Gotta be careful. You're the big star, your whole family is. Lu Nang looked confused. It sounded like an insult, but also not really, almost like a blessing. As expected of my bro Yao, handsome and witty. How did you recognize me? Bro Yao, a mask can't hide your good looks. Lu Nang pulled out his phone and naturally took a selfie with you. What are you doing? Are you posting to Weibo too? Not me, who'd read a nobody's post. Bro Yao's going to be a star now, probably won't see each other much. Just a keepsake, or else when I say I know you, no one will believe me. The little chubby forced a smile, and the folds on his face even looked a bit sad. You didn't expect this guy to be so sentimental. Seems like the original owner made a good friend. Who said I'm becoming a star? I'm not becoming a star. Being a star is exhausting. Better to study hard and make money. I'll take you with me to get rich later. Really? Of course. When have I ever lied to you? Awesome. But bro Yao, why are you hiding behind me? You're big enough to block me. Lu Nang really could block people. If you went out worried about being recognized, he was the perfect cover. Soon you arrived safely at the school gate with Lu Nang as your shield. Bro Yao, look at the school gate. You glanced in the direction Lu Nang pointed and froze. It was packed, a sea of people, truly frightening. The school gate was swarming with people, and a group of security guards could barely hold them back. I'm a student. Let me in. A big guy at the front shouted desperately. You call that a student? What is this? The apocalypse? Fighting over resources? But there aren't any resources at school. Knowledge? You suddenly had a ridiculous thought, like writing a book about starting from a school to teach zombies. Let me in. Let me see what this Lu Yao kid is all about. How dare he go after our Mary? The one who's been watching Mary grow up can't let some brat steal her away. Brat! A group of middle-aged men and women were practically rioting. It looked like they weren't planning to leave you alive. Bro Yao, they're all here for you. Lu Nang had never seen anything like this. He was already planning to distance himself from you. I know you're speechless. These are Mary's dad fans and mom fans. They've watched her grow up, and now some kid wants to go after their daughter? No way they'd tolerate that. Normally, these mature fans wouldn't do such boring things. Probably most of them are just here for the spectacle. The real troublemakers are just a few ringleaders. You broke out in a cold sweat. Not to mention the whole crowd. Any one of these people could probably take 10 of you. Never underestimate the power of aunties. Mary, look what you've done. What's with this girl's fanbase? We're not blocking other kids from learning. We just want to see Lu Yao. Yeah, show yourself if you're a man. You're not blocking other kids from learning. You're blocking me from learning. Bro Yao, what do we do? Can't just stand up. This whole thing with Mary is baseless. If I make a scene, I'll just be an idiot and it'll never be clear. But getting into school is non-negotiable. Fatty, here's the plan. Trust me, it'll work. Lu Nang nodded dumbly, trusting you. Lu Yao, where are you going? Lu Ning shouted, instantly drawing everyone's attention. Where's Lu Yao? Lu Nang pointed in the direction you came from. He ran that way. Brat, he ran. Let's go. The ringleaders quickly turned and led the crowd charging toward where Lu Nang had pointed. A few passersby glanced suspiciously at the wrapped-up figure behind Lu Nang, but to keep up with the crowd, they just took an extra look. Close call. You watched the dispersing crowd with some trepidation. Sure enough, when people are swept up in the tide of public opinion, they just follow blindly, going wherever they're pointed. With the crowd gone, you and Lu Nang didn't dare linger. You fled the scene. If they doubled back, both of you would be in trouble. Before entering the classroom, you hesitated. This would be awkward. If your classmates all thought you and Mary really had something, wouldn't it be weird? You imagined being the center of teasing and shivered. This was terrible for studying. You couldn't just stand outside forever. Taking a deep breath, you stepped into the classroom. The entire class stared at you. From the moment you entered to the moment you sat down, from taking out your backpack to pulling out your textbooks, you felt like a lab rat being studied. You swallowed and glanced at the empty seat beside you. At least the female lead wasn't here, so it was less awkward. Just then, Mary's best friend Lin, you turned around and smiled meaningfully. Xiao Li went to talk to the school administration. After all, they're her fans. If not controlled, it would really affect things. Oh, let's see how she handles it. Every day being this jittery really does affect studying. Didn't know you could write songs too. Actually, I can't. Writing songs isn't that hard. There aren't many geniuses in the world, but there are enough. What surprises me more here is that you like Shaoli that much. Lin Yu's expression was full of teasing, clearly enjoying the drama. I really don't dash. Alright, forget it. I don't want to get involved in your business. Lin Yu turned back. You couldn't be bothered to explain. Studying was more important. The morning was prime time. You started memorizing vocabulary. If you wanted to get good at English, your vocabulary had to be solid. The original owner was lazy, and English was his weakest subject, so the English teacher Zhang Bin didn't think highly of you. You memorized seriously until the girl beside you sat down. You noticed your deskmate had returned. Mary glanced at you without saying a word. The classroom echoed with knowing murmurs. Sure enough, all CP fans. Mary measured the distance same as before. She kept a 20-centimeter gap between you. Sensing the girl's gaze, you subconsciously moved right again. I have body odor. You didn't say that last time. Last time we just met. Now we're familiar enough to joke around. You glanced warily at the camera and continued memorizing. So that's how boys talk to girls they like? Don't generalize. I'm not speaking for all boys. Wait, I don't like you. You glanced at Mary. This girl was definitely misunderstanding. He's not right, so that's a pity. Too complicated to explain here. At break, come to the stairwell. I'll explain properly. Why the stairwell? Simple. No cameras, and photographers don't usually follow perfect for explaining. Calling me to a secluded place. That's not very appropriate. You're the poisonous one. I learned it from you. You had a surreal feeling of the tables turning, losing ground in this verbal sparring. You didn't have such a childish need to win. You'd just explain when the time came. What's wrong? Hit a nerve. Mary wasn't as laid back as you. Now that she had the upper hand, she wanted to press her advantage. You're getting annoying. Boring? Boring. Yet you secretly write songs for me? You couldn't help but just as you turned to respond, you made eye contact with your homeroom teacher peeking through the back window. Oh, this is bad. Every class has one of those teachers, standing against the light, staring through the window with piercing eyes. Zhang Bin had actually been there for a while. Before coming in, he wanted to see what you, brat, were doing. He watched for 3 minutes. You were studying seriously. Mary, however, kept leaning toward you. Even Mary was making the first move. Zhang Bin, a 10-year fan, was furious. Damn brat. He really put a spell on Mary. Of course, he wasn't angry about some pig eating the cabbage. He just didn't like you. Though he found you annoying, you had been studying pretty hard lately. Before, whenever he peeked through the back door, you were the most restless, not studying and disturbing others. Look at you now, completely different. The teachers noticed these changes in their students. Recently, many subject teachers had praised your improved attitude. Could it be that you were studying so hard because you liked Mary? That would be pretty inspiring. Wait, why am I defending this pig trying to eat the cabbage? Originally planning to watch longer, now that you'd spotted him, he had to give you a little lesson. Zhang Bin pretended to arrive and slowly walked into the classroom. In the next English class, I'll test you on the vocabulary we've studied. This announcement caught the students off guard. They scrambled to pull out their textbooks and cram. Although strict as a homeroom teacher, Zhang Bin usually took English pretty lightly. Tests like this were rare. This guy must be sending a message to someone specific. Students groaned internally but had to swallow their complaints and start memorizing. The star students especially were suffering. They hadn't looked at their books at all.